Does this mean we're live?
We're going live.
We're going live.
We are live.
We are live.
Okay.
So we're live.
We are live from our fly shop in Orem, Utah. Sometimes people don't know we have a fly shop downstairs, and it's pretty large.
Well, a lot of people watch the podcast, and they don't understand that we're actually upstairs.
It's magic.
So when you say downstairs, it's all a mystery, Curtis.
It's what we're here about. Guys, we are here with Colby Crossland.
Hello.
Right there. He does not look like Lance. Lance is in Mexico. Besides, four is a crowd at this table.
Four is a crowd.
But Cheech is starting an Instagram live just to throw some of our Instagram peeps over to the YouTubes where we're streaming
That's Colby.
Officially live.
Yeah, we're just doing an Instagram live to show just a little bit of a teaser of how handsome we are.
Speak for yourself.
So we were just talking about this, that Colby's spit guard is actually an anti-mustache tickler.
He's got a winner.
Yeah.
I can't tickle anybody.
All right, Instagram people, if you want to keep watching this, go to YouTube right now. Appreciate you. Goodbye.
Sure appreciate you.
Sure appreciate you. All right, so what are we going to talk about?
First off,
go ahead.
We do want to talk about the audio. Guys, is the audio good today?
Is the audio good?
I spent extra time making sure it was up to snuff.
Yeah.
Lane Mortensen usually gives us good feedback.
Yeah.
So anyway, chime in on the audio if it sounds decent today.
Yeah.
But anyway, Colby, who we've known for quite a while.
Yeah, it's been like 18 years or something.
Probably. You guys are like some of the first people I knew when I got into the fly fishing scene.
Yeah. And it was all through back before the YouTube.
Yeah, no Facebook back then.
We had these internet bulletin boards where you'd comment.
So
I remember it was called Utah on the Fly. You couldn't even post pictures. You remember that?
Oh yeah, like it was just white and blue.
Yeah, if you wanted to become like a premier member, you could post pictures.
Oh yeah.
Were you guys premier members?
No.
I don't know. I think I might have been grandfathered into that because I was an admin for a bit.
Oh no, I was like the king troll of that group.
I don't even think you ranked in the top 10 of trolls on that one.
All right. Okay. Okay, that's good to know.
Oh man, but yeah, we're stoked to have Colby here.
They say I'm a little quiet.
Well, let me turn you up.
Yes. Crank it up, suckers.
Hey.
When's the last time somebody said you were too low?
Well, I was too low. Let's see. When was this comment? Just 30 seconds ago.
Well, like before that, though, is what I'm saying. Just
Yeah,
low in life.
it's
Like you're just
never
a large individual.
Yeah, I'm as Lance and Fishhawk call me, a large human.
I would agree.
See, that's what I'm saying. I keep telling people I'm not fat. I just I'm just big boned. Okay. Whoa.
Oh, you're loud now.
Now I can sit
Bingo.
back. Yeah. Ooh,
Normally I have to dial Cheech down because his voice is so commanding.
Right. Brigham says Cheech mumbles anyway, but it's golden.
I don't even know what that means.
I think golden is like a
Golden
type of
voice.
potato.
Oh,
Golden
it
potato.
could be.
Yeah, that's what it is. All right.
Golden potato.
Good job, Brig. Okay. So we were talking about how we kind of met a long time ago. Yeah, but Colby's now like king guide on the green. Not king, but you're definitely
He's been doing it for a bit
in the royal family.
Yeah. So
Maybe king.
we're talking Green River in Utah.
Right.
Yeah.
And one of our favorite places to fish.
Yeah, below Flaming Gorge Dam.
Below Flaming Gorge Dam. And I fished there since I was in college in the 90s. And again, ridiculously awesome place to fish. And so when did you start guiding there?
2011, so the very first like big high water year.
Yeah. Oh,
It
nice.
was big, 8,000 for 8 weeks.
How many times did you row the river that year? Did you do
over
a bunch?
100? Yeah.
Wow.
Dang. I mean, to kind of put that in perspective, though, I mean, how many guys that fish the green a fair bit from this side of the state? I mean, maybe they're getting over there 10 times at the most.
I think that would be
kind of
somebody who's up there a lot.
Yeah. And you're rowing it 100 times in a year. I mean,
Minimum.
minimum.
150 guide days plus maybe
that's awesome.
20 fun floats. Maybe.
So what was your first boat?
My first boat, this is actually a pretty funny one. So Scott Barris, who hired me, who owns Spinnerfall.
Scott.
He's the man.
Yeah, we're going to have him on.
Scott's a stud.
When you're talking about Green River royalty, he's right up there.
Yeah.
Him and Chucky.
Yeah.
But so when he bought his, at the time, new boat, a big Pavati, he had an old Fishery. It was nicknamed the Surfboard. It was like 18 feet long, super narrow, and just flat. So, I mean, it was almost like an Ausable boat. And started in high water, and there was polls going around of how long it would take me to sink it. And I mean,
wow.
If I had to go down on the B section, if I knew I was going down there, I couldn't sleep the night before.
Oh, wow.
I mean,
It's a Red Creek.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
kept Cheech up.
It did. It really did. The first time I rode Red Creek in a brand new drift boat. So I had heard stories, and I'm just like, I don't want to ding this thing up.
Did you go through clean?
Oh yeah, we have it on.
Lance
video.
and I jumped out though.
Yeah, that's always a good move.
Yeah, but Cheech handled it. We do have video of that on our YouTube channel.
Yeah, they flew a drone over, and I knew that this was all going to be documented,
regardless of what happened.
So
it was
can't
on.
Mess that
if
one up.
I sink the boat, it's going to get mega heliclicks, you know. I think that's the term we use.
Heliclicks.
But I didn't sink the boat. I actually ran a pretty decent line, I felt, but yeah, it really did make me lose sleep going through Red Creek.
It sinks probably 2 or 3 boats a year, hard boats.
Wow. What? It's a little bit off topic. When do most of the boats sink? I mean, at what flows are they? Or is it because they're going down the right side or something crazy?
It's usually it seems like when water comes down, when we first start seeing our first few days around 1,200 or 1,800, and things start getting bony and rocky again. And people were confident of going through when it was anywhere from 2,500 to 4,000 is a piece of cake.
Yeah.
But when it starts getting skinny, it's skinny, and the rental
That's when
boat
you have
gets
to
stuck
do
in there a lot.
That crap.
Yeah, back and forth.
And just some background on the green. So we're talking below Flaming Gorge, which is a big reservoir. The first 7 miles below the dam to Little Hole is called the A section, and then the B is how long? Till
a little over 9.
Browns, 9 miles. And in the first third or so is where a little creek, can be little, can also be big, comes in, and there's some rapids there that are probably the gnarliest.
Yeah, it's our biggest rapid on the green in Utah. It's a class 3, and it's probably a light class 3. If you're a rafter, you'd laugh at calling it a class 3, but when you go through it in a hard boat at low water, it's legit. There's
those hard boats typically don't like to bounce off rocks like the rafts do.
They don't like to take water over the side.
No, they don't.
That's the problem. They're not self-bailing. If you get water over the side, you bail yourself out the boat. That's what you do. Hey, we got to clear this up. Lance Egan, bless his soul, is not here tonight.
He's in Mexico.
He's been kidnapped by the cartels for his Euro nymphing skills.
Casting also.
Casting. So he's in Mexico. He'll be back soon. So that's it. And by the way, this is episode 14? Right?
Yeah, I think so.
Did we say that audibly?
Episode 14.
Episode 14. You got to say it too.
Episode 14. I think it's been said 14 times.
All right. Well, and we very well may have hit the audio right on the head this time.
I think this is the first time out of any of the podcasts that we've actually had both audio and video dialed in.
But we still need to give ourselves the 35 episode cushion.
We know, because something's going to go wrong.
Something's going to go wrong.
Yeah.
All right. So I digress. We're talking about flows and nerd hard boats and all that. Red Creek Rapid.
Also, just in general, for people who don't know the green, lots of trout per mile.
Yes.
And lots of browns, some rainbows. You'll even see a few pike here and there, unfortunately.
Yeah, we see a few pike. Catch a cutthroat or 2 a year.
Yep. And whitefish.
Yeah, there's a lot of
every now and again. It's a phenomenal fishery. The one cool thing about Flaming Gorge is that it regulates basically the water temperatures based on where they draw it out of the reservoir. It's kind of a thing that goes up and down, from what I understand.
Penstocks.
Penstocks is the technical term.
What?
Yeah, that's what Colby says.
How did you learn that?
Well, it's because does this 150 times a year.
We're literally fly fishing pros. We know everything.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
But you're not structural engineers.
Bingo. Whoa, that was loud. Sorry, I won't touch my mic again. Anyway.
Yeah, so it's phenomenal. It's one of the best tailwater fisheries, I think, in the world, potentially. I know it's
I like
gotta
be up there.
I think worth it. They've got phenomenal hatches, good streamer fishing. You can nymph it. It's fun. And a lot of the areas, like when I first went there, I was just blown away by the number of fish I could see right in front of me walking down along the bank, and I'm just like, oh, this is going to be a blast. And they're a little bit more technical than I thought, but I mean, we fished there for quite a bit, and from times when I was just chucking, I don't even know, hare's ears and crap like that.
Stuff I'm chucking.
Yeah, that still works, all the time. So anyway, just as a kind of an overview for people, but
and when you go there and you can see the fish and you think that your drift is perfect, and you have like the fly that
I'm right at the right depth or right on his nose,
it'll make you realize that maybe you're not as smart as a fish all the time.
It can be maddening when you're just seeing them fishing in the aquarium. You see a dozen fish below you,
or like a nice caddis hatch in the summer, and they're rising all around, and they just won't touch your fly.
Yeah, they see a lot of flies. There's a lot of people that fish it. It's not an unknown river.
Right.
So
as a plug, just in general, Colby does work for Spinnerfall
Guide Service.
And they run a ton of trips down the river every year, have a bunch of good guides. If you are thinking about making a trip out, it's worth it. I mean, out of anywhere on this side of the Rockies, worth your time.
Colby even got us into fish when we floated with him.
That's right.
4 years
a while
ago.
back. Yeah.
You had one of the funnest streamer eats that I can remember in my guide career.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Which one was that when we were eating lunch?
The little.
Oh yeah, the belly scratcher.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right under the bait on that moss line.
Yeah. So there was didn't we see that fish just sitting there?
Yeah, just sitting there.
And so we crawled a belly scratcher minnow up to it, and he could not handle it. How did he eat it? I can't.
I think he just went.
Just inhaled
right
it.
in.
It was just gone.
Yeah, that was awesome. And it was cold too. It was like, was it early March or late February? I can't remember.
Yeah, I think it was
somewhere right
there.
in there.
Yeah.
That is another fun one about the green, is just how well it fishes in the spring.
Yeah.
So many rivers, they don't really turn on until summer hits.
Yeah. So let's walk through like a year and at a high level, right? So right now, what's going on?
Right now we get a light little midge hatch on a warmer day, and the streamer fishing this time of year is usually really, really good.
Yeah.
And as a guide, if I'm up there this time of year, it's usually doing streamer trips.
Yeah.
And then March we start getting really good midge hatches, and you can go up and like just target fish, midge fishing all day, and
you can almost walk across the river on midges and betas.
Yeah. And the beta starts showing up mid-April. So with those penstocks, usually April 15th they'll raise them up, and the water will warm up a few degrees, and that will trigger the blueing olive hatch.
Oh, that is interesting. I did not realize that.
Yeah, you can totally watch the graphs that the Bureau of Rec puts out, and you'll know what the water temperature is. And
you guys, your price of admission is just paid for right here with this little tidbit.
Yeah.
It's funny, though, because over the years, I've always marked April 15th as my prime.
I got a scratch in my throat.
Jiminy Christmas. Cheech is destroying the podcast. April 15th was kind of that was the time I start to go for the betas.
That's the day. Tax day is usually my high fish day of the year.
Happy day. So then you've got, how long does that last?
Depends on the year, but you usually get a good solid month almost.
Okay.
And then once you start getting into May, we start seeing the big bugs, and we start just kind of fishing foam.
Yeah, so cicadas. I've done really well on beetles.
Yeah. They get the little black stones, the March stones.
Yeah. So. And then into the summer, some phenomenal yellow sallies.
Yep, yellow sally,
caddis.
unreal caddis hatch.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
like drive you crazy.
That's probably my favorite hatch
Yeah.
on the river. I'll take that over cicadas usually.
Yeah, and they're not pushovers. I mean, there's sometimes where it's been a little better, but sometimes you feel like, man, you got to have the color and size dialed in,
especially
pretty
with
good.
the Caddis. Yeah,
Yeah,
you definitely can't be throwing the 12 out there.
yeah.
I'm usually throwing an 18 or a 20 Caddis.
So, what's your favorite Caddis pattern for that?
Just
Like
an
style,
L-care.
just L-care.
Yeah,
So,
I mean they
Standard.
float. You can see them.
Yeah.
yeah. There's that one's it's nailed in my opinion.
yeah.
Peacock Caddis is another one that's
Oh
that's
yeah,
up there.
I think when we were fishing year before last, we did really well with like a peacock caddis. I'm pretty sure I had a peacock body, but it was a peacockish dubbing, if nothing else. So cicadas, we get lots of questions on cicadas. May-ish is kind of when that starts.
Yeah, it'll usually start end of May, and those are our little cicadas,
The little guys.
and they're maybe kind of thumbnail sized.
Yeah.
and they'll run through June. And that's not an every year thing. It's kind of a hit and miss if it happens. And then same thing through July. Then we get into what we call our Mondo cicadas, and they're like the size of your thumb. I mean,
Yeah,
it's a
they're
size 4,
big.
a size 2. I mean, they're huge.
And according to Scott Barris, 2002 was a big cicada year. And then
Exactly.
2003 was even better.
Exactly.
So if we're following the 17-year cycle, 2020
Is going to be horrible.
should be horrible.
So
Stay
everybody
away.
plan
You
to
weren't
go to the
supposed to
wand.
say that.
Like so tell us how it was this last summer in 2019 with cicadas.
There was some windows where it was as good as it gets. I mean, just you're almost fishing a bear hook. I mean, laughable good when it's on, catching fish in spots that I've never caught fish.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing I heard too. It was torture for us because we're in the shop, and we had a lot of stuff going on this last summer as we try to transition to make this full time and all that. And so we didn't actually get out there. I was just like the worst thing ever. But every day you'd have people in the shop. Holy crap! I can't believe the green was unreal. I took my 2 kids, and they're 10 and 12, and they caught 50 fish each. Or, it's crazy stuff like that.
It was that good.
Just nuts.
And here we sit,
Twiddling our
behind
thumbs.
the register, me filling out hurt feelings reports in HR.
Setting up podcasts.
Sorry, I got scratchy voice. I got a tickle in the back of my throat. You know how when you eat a Snickers bar too fast and you get a little
Is that
peanut
what happened?
chunk? No, it was a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. But I swear it was like a little peanut jammed in the back of my throat, and I was gagging downstairs.
We
It
could
was
hear you.
bad. Yeah, I almost died.
Yeah, 1 million people on YouTube heard it all.
Be honest, Colby. Would you have done CPR?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, because you don't do mouth to mouth anymore.
Oh, you're a
Did you know
beautiful
that?
man.
Yes,
I'm okay with that.
he would do it anyway.
Yeah.
All right,
man.
there. I've interrupted my final time.
Well,
no promises.
Yeah, I don't believe you.
So I was wondering, like, what is it that got you into being a guide? What was that decision process like?
I kind of fell into it. Before I was guiding, I was doing commercial photography, and it was right out of photo school. And I had a summer where I didn't have any gigs booked. And Matt Lucas, who now owns the Western Rivers Guide Service, I went to high school with him, and I came up and spent the summer on his couch and learned how to row a boat and learned how to actually fish for real, and kind of dug it. And so I set up my next summer to do the same thing, and kind of sort of thought about guiding, but I didn't have a boat and I was happy taking photos. And Scott offered me a job, and I said no, that I didn't have a boat, and he said he'd sell me his boat, the surfboard, and told him I couldn't afford it, and he said he'd carry the loan, and told me I'd have enough trips to pay him back, and here I am 10 years later.
Yeah,
that's great.
So
that's awesome.
I don't take photos anymore, and I row a boat a lot.
You row a boat a lot.
Shovel a lot of water.
Shoveling water. So you guide until what, about October, or?
Yeah, I usually shut it down end of October, maybe the first week in November.
Yeah.
And then all winter I just hang out, try to get down to Mexico a few times, and come and do cool stuff like this. And
Yeah, cool stuff like this. You have to sit and chat with us.
battle traffic in Lehigh.
Oh, dude.
That's the worst.
Yeah, if you guys ever want the ultimate experience of hellacious driving, drive through Lehigh I-15 after a snowstorm because they've scraped off the lines.
Yeah.
You ever seen that? You'll be like in a lane, and then all of a sudden it's like Harry Potter did a spell on the lane, and it's, you know, and then you have these like 16-year-old drivers. I gotta stay in this lane. You know?
Well, I'd almost rather not have the lanes in that construction where you're doing S curves, and it's
Just do your best. Right?
Yeah.
Don't run into other people. Good luck.
Yeah.
good
You know?
luck. Welcome to Utah driving.
That would be like South America or Mexico driving right there.
At least in Mexico, they use your horn and tell you that they're coming.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. In Argentina, they flash their lights. Stop signs and stoplights don't exist, and the lanes are not used.
Yeah.
But I'd rather drive down to Escalak or drive through the Yucatan than drive Utah freeways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Utah
Well, down there,
County
yeah.
especially.
Yeah.
Well, what else here? We got, so you started guiding, and you've really been with Scott the whole time.
Whole time. Yeah. There's nowhere for me to
Spinnerfall.
go
Yeah.
otherwise.
That's
So.
awesome. And there's some good outfits and guides on the river.
Oh yeah, no, that's
so
that's one
that's
thing
a nice
about the
thing.
green
Yeah.
is it's not an easy river to row, so you learn how to be a good guide quick.
Yeah.
And there's so many good guides out there that if you're not getting fish and you're not
Yeah, it'll show.
doing your job, yeah, it shows quick.
I remember when we floated with you, and I can row a boat. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not the best rower, but I
you're
mean, I was
safe.
blown away. Yeah, I can manage, but I was blown away at some of the little ninja moves you were doing.
Less is more.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, when you go down a river like that, you want to make sure you've got somebody who can row the boat and get you into fish, because it goes hand in hand. I
And
guess.
I feel like we've made the green sound scary to row. It's not. It's a great, easy, fun river to show up and row. But there
Yeah,
are,
but I think that a lot of people go there just totally overconfident
Yes, there is
with
that.
their skills, and like, do they still rent drift boats?
yeah,
Wow.
I mean
That's
it's
that's
sunk
crazy
once
to
or
me.
twice a year. Every year I've been there.
Yeah, because like, I don't know, especially if you go to a river and you don't have the general understanding that you row backward
Yeah. Oh yeah.
instead of
Everything's-
forward.
It's like
Yeah.
patting your head and rubbing your belly.
Yeah, like I don't get it. Yeah, it took me a while to feel comfortable before I finally rode it the first time, you know, but after that it's like it's the coolest feeling in the world,
Yeah.
especially like middle of summer on the Green River, because when you're rowing you look up more.
Yeah. Yeah. You actually get to enjoy the canyon.
Yeah, I was telling Curtis and Lance, hey guys, look up.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yes, and that's the other thing. You take it for granted. You've been there a few
Oh,
times,
yeah.
and you're like, people come there for the first time, and they're blown away by that
unreal.
first 7 miles and how beautiful it is. And I don't know how tall the cliffs are, 1,000 feet.
Yeah, in spots over.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's so cool. If you haven't had a chance to fish the green, I'll say it 100 times tonight.
And just
You
bright
gotta
red
get out
rock.
there. Yeah, the red rocks and then the green. What are it, junipers and
Yep, juniper pinyon and
Bald
box elder.
eagles and
yeah,
Yeah,
bald
bald
eagles there,
eagles.
and
moose.
moose and
Yeah, we see a lot of moose down on the lower river and
bighorn
Bighorns.
sheep.
yeah, bighorns.
Yeah,
And they're doing good. They're coming back. So I've only
It's-
seen one elk on the river though.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Only one elk. Have you seen bears and mountain lions and stuff?
I've seen mountain lions and bobcats on the river. I haven't seen a bear yet. A lot of people do. There was one that was hanging out on the river that I'd get photos almost every day that somebody saw it, and I
Yeah.
never saw it. But on that note, like there was a moose a big bull that like he was my buddy. See him, saw him probably 30 times this year, if not more.
Oh really?
And then Scott, who owns Spinnerfall, said he went the whole season and never saw it.
yeah.
That he
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Was that down by Little Hole?
No, it was down on the B, down at Treetops Camp.
Oh, cool.
So
Yeah. So
One guy's asking,
let's answer some questions.
are your clients repeat clients, or do you fish new clients every day?
I'm primarily repeat, but I get some holes or I get some new guys, and Spinnerfall we take on a lot of new clients too.
Yeah, and that's awesome. I mean, if you're doing repeat clients, you kind of know what you're in for.
It makes it so much easier. Just communication in the boat is key. That's
Yeah.
the number one is good communication, and sometimes it takes a while to learn how to communicate well with somebody. And
Some
when-
people want to get yelled at. Some people are very
Exactly.
sensitive, and other people have your same sense of humor.
Mm-hmm.
Other people are mechanical engineers. Curtis isn't. Anyway,
But that is one thing when you're booking a float with any guide service, not on the river, anywhere, just talk to whoever you're on the phone about personalities of the guides. Find somebody who matches you well. Do some research. Just don't show up and pay your money and like pick the guy who looks the most fishy.
Yeah.
Because he's usually the rookie who just spent all the money. And
Says the Howler Brothers guy.
Look at my mustache, boy. Yeah, we heard a story. You won't believe this, but there was a guy who went out fishing, and I guess one of the services was running low on guides, so they got a pinch hitter, we'll say. And he fished Griffith's gnat as the top fly.
Size 18.
Size 18. How many feet to the dropper? Or to
10 or 12.
10 or 12 feet under that.
From a Griffith's gnat.
But get this. The leader was tied to the bend of the Griffith's gnat.
so it's backwards?
It's backwards.
So nothing was tied to the eye.
And the dropper is also tied on the bend of the Griffith's gnat because someone told him to tie it to the bend.
Nice. Yeah, you're going to have great hookup ratio there.
Yeah. So, anyway.
And it was a bead head dropper.
Bead head dropper.
Yeah.
So, not the greatest
Crazy.
fishing, maybe. But,
No, probably not.
yeah. So
But most guys
that's
are not
good.
like that. I would
No,
say.
no,
Yeah.
no.
We were just asking, Curtis and I were talking about it, but what makes a good client and what makes a less than ideal client? We won't call them bad clients because they're all good,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it's just like people.
Yeah.
Like I was saying earlier, communication for me is just number one. Like
Yeah.
at the start of the day, be honest with your ability
Yeah.
to where you're not getting in over your head. I mean, I'll have clients that I haven't fished with say like, oh yeah, I can cast 80 feet and wind's no issue, and we'll go down and fish the lower river where you need to get at 50 feet from the boat probably in the wind, and it's tough when somebody oversells themselves and then I look bad. But
Dude, Curtis and I have guided like 4 times each in our whole lives, and we've had that guy before.
yeah,
Done it for 20 years, meaning
yeah,
I
one
go
day
out with a
year.
guide once a year.
Yep.
Yeah, we have stories, and we've only done it one time.
That was really rough, like as a rookie, where it's like, oh yeah, this is my
Yeah.
first year, and like Bob's, oh, I've been fishing for 20 years, and like you were saying, one day a year with the guide, and that's it.
Yeah. There's
So-
something wrong with this. You need to row better.
This flagpole doesn't work.
I do declare that this flagpole does work in Georgia for bluegills and brims and perch, but it will not work for trout.
Yeah, that's my favorite when somebody rolls up and is like, yeah, I've got my grandpa's 7/8 weight. Will this work?
Oh,
And it's just like
geez,
the
yeah.
lines reeled on the reel backwards, and it's all
geez.
kinked, and
It's like, yeah, well, maybe.
we always have extra rods.
Yeah. So do clients typically
Oh, yeah.
bring their own gear and flies and stuff, or
We everybody on the green will supply flies. I like clients to bring their own rods and reels, just if they're comfortable with it. I mean, I've always got a really nice setup. I use Epic
yeah,
rods,
Cool.
and so I mean, we'll give somebody a great rod if they want it, or if they
Yeah.
want to play with something. But yeah, most guys show up with their own gear. At least my clients do.
yeah. That's probably a plus, right?
So yeah, I mean, you show up with a rod and a pair of glasses, and you're good. That's all you need.
Dude, I'm coming. You got size 14 boots. Now you let people in your boat with studded boots, right?
Yeah, I actually do.
You do.
I just throw down a mat.
Oh,
Well, there you go.
that's what we need to do.
It's not a wooden boat. If I had a wooden boat,
Gonna chew
I'd say
it
no.
up. Yeah.
Yeah, no
So.
doubt. Hey, somebody said, and I do take the blame for this. But they said you stopped talking about the monthly ashes in July
Cheech
when she
interrupted.
started choking.
We gotta keep going. That was the most interesting part. We stopped at Caddis.
Oh, we got a
Caddis.
little cicada
Yeah.
in
Yeah,
because
oh,
I
they
wanted
did-
to
yeah.
ask you how many of your little
Oh,
triangle
the
cicadas that you guys sold.
Project Cicadas.
Yeah, the Project Cicada.
Yeah, we usually that's a tough one for them to keep up with. We sell so many of those.
Because that fly was really good this summer.
Yeah, it's nuts. So we're stoked to be throwing them this year again too.
So, and that's another one. You're up there fishing those cicadas. Fish them on like 2x minimum.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Like I guarantee 24 cicadas pulled out of back eddies this year. So be nice to the fish. Like fish,
Oh, wow,
fish
yeah.
rope on the cicadas.
Yeah,
You don't need 6x.
Yeah. That's true.
that's a tough one to get turnover anyway.
Yeah, I mean,
hefty foam, hefty hooks.
on big hoppers and stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
I just start at 0x. There's no reason not to. They'll lead
Right.
it.
Yeah,
If you have a good drift and you're doing your end right, they don't ever see the leader.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, You get guys that don't understand the fact that if you throw a big bulky fly on small tippet, it's going to twist up so bad anyway.
Spin up, and
by the time a fish eats it, there's going to be so much stress on that tippet, it's just going to break anyway.
Yeah, from a drift boat, you're always fishing downriver, drifting with it. So if you're doing it right, the fish doesn't see what you're throwing.
Yeah,
I'd feel comfortable fishing red leader.
You should make it a point. It's like fish 8-pound amnesia.
On cicada, I wouldn't hesitate.
Oh man,
Yeah,
wouldn't hesitate.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite hatch to fish?
So we were talking about that as you were dying, and that was the Caddis.
The Caddis.
Yeah. I'll take Caddis over cicada just because it's consistent. I know Caddis are coming every year.
And what's the timing on the Caddis usually?
All summer.
So
all summer.
June, July, August.
Yeah, June, July, August, September. But it usually picks up and gets crazy in July.
We hit it on
4th of July.
That little slate gray, the really dark one.
Dark Caddis.
But I had a bunch of cinnamon ones in my box, and we caught a few, but then we got some cinnamons for later, and it was good.
And then fast water too. Find the moving water when you're fishing the Caddis.
So in water that you may not be seeing them rise.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Because they're subtle eats.
And here's another thing kind of related to the hatches, though. We always get asked, can I fish cicadas from shore?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The green is a tough one to fish from shore, especially the A section.
Yeah, because it's harder to cover a lot more water. There's definitely areas you just can't get to on foot.
The green, there's only 2
repelling.
spots where you can cross.
Yeah.
And then when you're up in the canyon, your back cast is pretty limited.
Yeah, you're steeple casting it.
The top half of the top half of B is pretty accessible on foot.
Yeah.
And then the last couple miles of A. So, I mean, there's a lot of water to fish on foot.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's definitely a boat river.
Yeah.
If you fish that in a boat, it changes your whole perspective of the river.
Oh, yeah.
Curtis,
I don't wade fish.
Yeah. No, because it's like, this sucks compared to...
Yeah.
I didn't fish it from a boat until I'd probably fished it for about 10 years. And the first time I fished it from a boat, it blew my mind. It was nuts. Just the ease with which you can approach the fish, kind of your how you're casting. And the one thing I did like about wade fishing, and I did a lot of when I was in college back in the 30s, I felt the midge hatch was way better. Like I could go right now, or even earlier January, and I would always see, in each back eddy, 20, 30 heads up. And I don't see that as much now. Cheech and I would usually go for our birthday trip celebration in February, and man, the last few years it's been really spotty.
I would agree with that. The midges the last couple of years, and the pseudocleons. Is that the right way to?
Yeah.
Pseudocleon. That is how you pronounce that.
The little blue wings.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I kind of liked the midges from shore wading a little better because I could work them.
Yeah, you can slow down and pick it apart.
Which you could sure hop out of your boat. That's no problem. But anyway, so that's a lot of fun. Let's finish the year.
Okay, so
Caddis, yellow sallies we talked about.
Yeah.
What do you have? Well, so in September you got the pseudos that start.
Yeah, and
that's a tough one.
Not many guys fish that hatch. I really like it. It reminds me of saltwater fishing.
Yeah.
And when I can get guys to slow down and actually fish to a specific fish, it's a really, really fun hatch.
Yeah.
But through most of the fall, late summer, I'm just throwing random terrestrials, whether it's a hopper, a beetle, an ant.
Because they're still keyed on that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there's a lot of the old-time guys say that they'll go and fish July and February and just fish a cicada. Because it just gets imprinted in their head.
Yeah.
And they haven't been stung for a while, so
it's like a just bass with crawdads. They just, regardless of whether or not they're crayfish in the water, they'll eat them.
Just like a donut on a table. Like, you're going to walk by it, pick it up. All right, it's a donut. I'll eat it.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. Even if you're on keto, you're still eating the donut.
Are you keto?
No.
Oh.
Dude, I'm a come on.
You could have just been starting.
Yeah, I
started 20 minutes ago.
I started after I'd choked on half a freaking peanut. Come on, Colby.
I'm sorry.
Maybe that's a hint that maybe I'll get invited to go float more standing in the front of the boat if I'm a medium-sized human.
Yeah, medium-sized humans are a lot better in the boat. Just throwing that out there.
Dude, Lance and I fished in the Flycraft on the Provo when it was at 1200.
Which is big water for the Provo.
Yeah, that's moving.
Ripping. And so I'd be in the front and I would be casting. And he's like, don't lean, don't lean, don't lean.
Oh, that's back to good client, bad client.
Yeah.
Don't lean. Stay centered in the boat. If your guide starts calling you Eileen, yeah, that Captain Morgan pose in the boat, just don't do it.
Yeah, just stand in the middle.
Yeah.
Somebody was saying, what's the top end size of fish on the green?
Most years I'll get a fish, maybe two fish, right at that 24-inch mark.
Yeah.
The biggest fish I know of, Charlie Card caught a 33.
Whoa.
Like, giant 33. I mean, they're in there. I mean, every year I'll have a flash at a fish that we've got on that he knows, like,
big,
a real fish.
Yeah.
But I mean, the average fish in the summer's like 18 inches.
That, which is crazy in moving water from a boat, active fish. I mean, that's a hoot.
I see way more fish in the 20-inch range than I see like under 15. It seems like
that's
at
awesome.
least midsummer.
Yeah.
Like when you're fishing the big foam. And
or when
if you guys haven't really realized it yet, you need to fish the green. I mean,
it's awesome.
We don't have giant fish, but like
those are
every
good
fish is
fighting
like
fish.
a great fish.
Yeah.
And it's not the green that kind of everybody talked about in the 90s where you just catch a wet sock and it doesn't fight. And they rip.
Yeah.
The high water that we've had the last few years, the river's healthy. And the fish numbers are down. Historically, everybody kind of said 18 to 20,000 fish per mile, which when you do the math is like 4 fish per river foot. Like, I mean,
that's like lined up head to toe.
Yeah. It's really silly, but they're saying now that it might be down more of like 8 to 10,000 fish per mile.
Which is probably better.
Oh yeah, no, it's better for the fishery. And like, that's probably better than any other famous river.
Yeah, and that's one thing. I fished some of the rivers around the West, and and there's some good ones, and I've kind of felt let down on some of them. But the green is one where I'm like, it's legitimate. And it's kind of tucked away up in the corner of Utah there on the border of Colorado,
it's not easy to get
Wyoming.
to, thankfully. I mean,
so
you have to commute.
It's
a
not
tough
the
one to do a
easiest
day trip.
Yeah. So for us, it's 3.5 hours to be here than to basically back in the boat into the water, but worth it.
Yeah, I mean, the closest flight in is Cheech's hometown.
Vernal's.
Yeah.
We used to, when we used to go fish it, my mom still lived in Vernal, and in her house she had a room with like a little cubby hole. So it's like over the stairs, but it was like a closet, but it was like a flat surface. So we'd make Curtis sleep in the cubby.
It was comfortable. You get up in the cubby. It's nice and warm in the cubby.
All right.
It's like Harry Potter up there.
So did you grow up fishing the green?
No, I didn't fly fish until I got married.
Oh.
So I had already moved away, but I was always going back to the green. Okay. And I wade fished it for years, and only like, I don't know, 10 years ago or something was the first time I floated it. But,
so are you Charlie and JD's age, Spencer? Or?
Yeah, I'm just a few years older than those guys. So I knew all those guys in high school. Spence and I played soccer together in high school.
It's funny. We've just like at Spinnerfall, we have the whole Vernal crew now. It seems.
I know.
Like.
Yeah. So JD and Charlie.
JD McGee and Charlie Card.
Those three were all, I think, in the same grade. Just 1 year.
Yeah, I think so. Or one or two
years younger than me.
But yeah, rowing. Like Charlie had his first drift boat at 14.
I know.
Like, that is unreal.
So the funny story was, I dated a girl in Manila, and one of my best friends lived in Dutch John. Emmett.
So you'd meet in the middle?
So we would always hang out there. He had a Bronco too, and we had some Beastie Boys. Nice. And what was the other cassette? They might
Air
be
Supply?
Giants. No, They Might Be Giants and Beastie Boys. That's a good combo.
Those are two good cassettes.
Yeah. So we would always go up and just kick around on the river and stuff, but I never fly fished. Okay. But I knew Charlie because he was always going up there. Mm-hmm. But I remember going into a Bigfoot fly shop and asking Charlie, I'm like, all right, could you tie a fly that looks like a grasshopper? And he's like, yeah. So he tied me a grasshopper. I had it in my hat for a long time. And it's just kind of ironic because we would even go into Flaming Gorge Lodge and look at the flies, and we thought that the no-hackles were cool.
Because they just looked like little bugs?
Yeah. So I was 16. I didn't touch a fly rod till I was 22.
Grew up in paradise. And
yeah. Didn't even know.
Grew
up in paradise. That's true. But I've made my revenge on a lot of the fisheries over there.
I can't even imagine Vernal in the 70s and 80s.
Oh, dude. Yeah. No, it was like your standard small town.
They didn't even have a Walmart then. Just Smith's.
We had some oil boys over there that was from Texas's. Just going to go over to Walmart's. Anyway, enough on the Vernal stuff. Right. Back to the guide stuff.
Okay.
Somebody said, and we've talked about this on Fly Tying with Uncle Cheech. By the way, if you're not on there, it's a Facebook group. We should go and like and subscribe and do all that stuff.
I just figured out how to make like the Facebook group things work on my phone, where I slide to the side. And then it was just like all fly fishing or with Uncle Cheech. Like that.
Yep.
I was so confused of like, why is my whole feed this? And I figured that if I swiped, it brought me to my groups. It felt like such a neophyte.
Well, there you go.
That's right.
That's actually a good thing. Your guide should not be a social media expert. Because,
It's better things to focus on.
Right. But we talked about tipping your guides. And some guys were super adamant. No, they're already getting paid. You don't need to tip your guide. And
if you want to fish with them again,
yeah. So I made an FAQ on the group. FAQ number, I don't know. Tip your guide. The end.
Yeah, that's a good rule.
So what would you say as a guide to someone who's wanting to go out there and fish? What's the guideline there?
Oh, on what you should tip?
Mm-hmm.
Out there, $100 has kind of been standard for, it sounds like 20 years.
Yeah.
So, I mean, any guide up there, if you give him a bill, he's not going to be upset.
Yeah.
But like, giving a guide an extra 20, 50, 100, like, it's unreal how far that money goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's one thing. If I go anywhere, like, I'll tip my guides huge, because if you end up back there on short notice or a hatch happens, like, we remember who's a good tipper. And if you call, like, I've got room for you.
Yeah.
You'll make it happen if you know somebody takes care of you. And if you know somebody's taking care of you, I hate to say you row a little bit harder, because I would like to say put my all into it every day, but you go a little above and beyond. And
yeah,
I'll break out the smoked ribs and like,
man,
up the
we're
lunch
there.
for the homies.
We got to tip it.
Yeah.
No, and that's one of the things as well. It's like people don't realize that you guys, a lot of times, it's a seasonal job.
Yeah, there's very few places where it's a full-time gig. I mean, even me, where I'm getting over 150 days a year in, like I take 4 months off, and
right.
I just signed up to drive Uber.
Oh, nice.
So I might have a winter gig now.
Oh, that'll be awesome. Some fly fishing.
Pretty soon, you'll have the guide Uber, so they can, like, all right, I want a drift boat on the green. Boom, your drift boat is where?
So I had a local guy, actually, who's creating it. Like, he's
really cool.
Legit trying to do Uber for guides.
Huh.
It's a little more than a booking service. And if what he was talking about, if it happens how he's planning it, it sounds kind of cool. And something that, like, one that I get asked a lot is, like, can I call in and, like, find somebody to split a boat with me? Like, we get that all the time.
Yeah, that's not a bad
And that's
idea.
just not something that, like, we really do.
Yeah.
But, like, his service will have all that.
Yeah,
It's kind of cool.
That's a good point.
Yeah, actually, my first trip that I floated was kind of the same thing. There was a guy I had known I think it was on Utah on the Fly, and he sent me an email, said, hey, I had a boat reserved, and my guy bailed on me. I'm coming from the East Coast, and he's like, you want to fish? I'm like, heck yeah. And, so that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. But fishing by yourself in a boat, if you've never done that, put that on the list. Like, being a single in a boat is really fun.
So 2 summers ago, I was a fill-in for one of our buddy Keone's business trips. And so I went, and they ended up having an odd number of people. That afternoon, I got to be in the front of the boat with Spencer, and we were just sitting there laughing our butts off about old soccer stories. And it was kind of a drizzly day, so we just ripped streamers all day and just crushed them. And it was one of the funnest trips ever. I agree. Yeah. It's awesome.
Yeah, like, drift boats are made for one person. Like, they accommodate 2 people, and a good oarsman can make it pretty fair front to back, but one person in a drift boat's really, really cool.
Yeah. One person and then a camera guy in the back. right?
No, unless he's skinny.
Right, exactly.
Camera guy in the back's horrible too, because he's always making you change your angles for the angle.
Yeah.
Of
Duck
filming.
down.
Yeah, duck down. Wait, audio's off. Say that again. My hat blew off, Lance. Can you catch it?
Also in the video.
Also in the video.
So it sounds familiar for you boys.
Yeah. No, we have a good time. I think if anything, when I fish, I get super focused on just the fish, and Curtis is always good to make sure that our trip is somewhat intelligible and able to publish on the YouTubes.
Oh, that's another one back to like being a good client. Take breaks and chill, and like we were talking about earlier, like look up. You're way better off to stop fishing for 5 minutes and like rest for real than fish like shit, like poop.
Yeah.
For
no, I agree.
an hour. Like just take a real break, and no guide will let you pass up the prime water.
Yeah.
Like if somebody's taking a break and their shoulder hurts, and we get to the spot where I want them in there, I'll stand them back up.
Yeah.
Like,
But you're right. I mean, if you take a breather and just sit down and relax for 20 minutes or even 10.
Even 5.
Yeah, I mean, it recharges the batteries.
I agree. Even when you're not on a guide trip, that's the thing. Rest, take a break. You'll focus better and catch more fish, I bet.
Do one thing at a time well, than 2 things poorly.
Yeah.
So
That's a quote from Colby Crossland.
you're changing it up now.
I know. I can't remember what the other one was.
I think it was Delarue.
Delicious.
Delarue. Delicious.
Delicious.
Oh, that sounds pretty
Delicious.
good. It was very southern lawyer.
I told Colby that he goes by Colby D. Crossland. But I told him that if you just have an initial in part of your name, that people get to make up whatever it is. My middle initials are, ready, go. In the comments, make up what my middle name is. And while you're at it, you got to mash the thumbs up. We only have 11 likes on this right now.
How are people not liking this?
Yeah, you need to mash the thumbs up. You need to subscribe.
I'm sorry.
Colby.
Man.
No, the joke is we usually have to remind people to...
What is it in the other? Ring the bell.
Oh, ring the bell. What? Smash the bell, ring the bell. Yeah, no doubt.
Oh, we're annoying sometimes.
We're annoying.
Isn't that what this is all about, though?
Yeah. So,
entertain.
Yeah.
Colby, what's the coolest thing about being a guide on the river, on the Green River?
Just that I get to share that with so many people. I mean, it's really, really, really cool, and it's what keeps me guiding, is just being able to give somebody that great of a day.
And you talk about sharing, and to me what that means is like I can cast, I can fish, I know the bugs and everything, but it's not, okay, behind that rock there's going to be a fish. We're going to circle around, don't cast toward it. We're going to get in this eddy, then you're going to cast up. I want you to mend, and I want you to feed that fly up, and he's going to be right behind that rock.
Yeah.
Right? And then
you sound like you've done it before.
Yeah, with you. Yeah, Charlie Carr did the ultimate one. We were on the B section. He's like, hey, Cheech, over my shoulder here. He wasn't even looking. He's like, there's a big rock. He's like, bomb a cast in and throw a huge mend and count to 20.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no way. So I do it 15, 16, 17. Like a big old brown. He's like, yeah, I know that guy.
Yeah, we get our little pets. It's funny. And you get the fish that like people can't hook.
Yeah.
Like, you'll get it eaten in the same spot every day, but somebody won't hook it.
Right.
It's pretty fun, like seeing the same spot day after day and seeing it fished well and seeing it fished poorly. And I mean, there's days where a poorly presented fly, especially during Caddis, crushes.
Oh, yeah.
Crushes.
Yeah.
2 or 3 years ago, we had an unreal Caddis hatch, and a gentleman came out with his father, and his father was getting kind of old, coach, and he sat down the second half of the day, and he would just kind of leave his fly dragging out the front of the boat, and I bet he caught 5 or 6 fish just sitting down, and his fly is 3 feet from the boat. So,
speaking of that, somebody said, after, how do you stay motivated after 10 to 12, 15 trips in a row? If you're fishing it all day, same section every day.
I send really big checks to pay mortgages.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, like my job's really cool, but it's a job.
You have to pay some bills.
Yeah, I have to pay bills. That's what keeps me motivated. I love my wife. I want to give her everything. So go to work every day and try to smile and come on. Even if I'm doing 20 trips in a row, that's way better than scooping ice cream or
than HR.
Yeah, than HR. It's better than shooting photos. Being a guide is a really cool job if you let it.
The passion part of any job. I mean, like I've told my kids before, regardless, unless you're a trust funder or you win the lottery or something, you're going to have to work. I mean, we have a fly shop and get to make cool YouTube videos for a living now, which is awesome.
And podcasts with cool guests. But with awesome mustaches. Anyway,
you got to work. So it is kind of good to have something that you're passionate about at least. And
I think that's one reason why I enjoy guiding too. Is I treat it like a job, like a career.
Yeah.
And I look at it as a career, and hopefully can retire doing it. Yeah. And that makes it easy. Like if I'm just a trout bum and think that I'm fishing every day, those guys burn out.
And that's my thing. Is like I said, we've guided very few times in our lives, and I think the reason for me is because I can't handle it just not fishing. Yeah. It's like, oh my gosh, if you could just get it 20 feet further, there's a drop off right there, you'd hook a fish every time,
See, and I prefer to guide than to fish most of the time.
Yeah, that's cool.
There's certain times of the year.
Sign us up. That's a match made in heaven.
Yeah, I mean, I love rowing a boat. Love rowing a boat. I couldn't, for the life of me, be a wade fishing guide.
Oh, yeah.
I love rowing a boat.
And so I feel you on that. There's something cool about the river, knowing how much power is there, and just knowing I can handle this. Yeah. I can get down. I can turn this into a cool trip.
Yeah. I mean, it's fun, like kind of scaring clients, like getting close to rocks, and you can read body language, and like you can make it fun, like other ways than fishing.
Yeah,
rowing the boat's a big one.
One person says, as a guide, do you always feel like you're teaching and instructing, or can you relax and enjoy the trip too?
Well, you can do both, at the same time. Like, I think that's
probably the key to being a guide.
Mark of a good educator is that you can relax and have fun while you're teaching somebody.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of when I started. I went into it with the idea, the thought process of, I'm not going to be the guy who can catch the most fish or the biggest fish every day, but I can tell myself right now as a rookie guide that I can teach people the most every day. And I hope that I'm still kind of working that in my day every day. Like I love teaching people, and it's really, really special and beautiful that I can share fly fishing with people. I mean, it's something that brings so much joy and life to people, and like I get to give them that. Like, there's so many of my clients that, like, the day that I take them fishing is the best day of their year.
Yeah, they're going to remember that one forever.
Like, it's really, it's
no
neat
doubt.
that I get to do that.
Yeah.
You probably have clients where you've just seen the light turn on.
Oh yeah, that's just fun. Where somebody's like, oh, I went to the park and I casted.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh yeah, you did. That's another one. Good client to bad client. Like, go practice your casting, especially if you only fish from a drift boat. And even if you're a pretty decent caster, if you've got a big bearded dude yelling at you to do everything, like, you frazzled and you don't remember what you're supposed to do. But if you go to the park and it's just muscle memory, and you make those casts where you're not worried about fish, because the act of fishing, it's hard to become a better fisherman.
Yeah,
because you're always worried you're messing it up.
We were talking to Scotty B about this too, and Spinner Fall is known for more of the real fishing experience, the fly fishing experience. You're not just lobbing over a bunch of weight and a bobber and just waiting for a fish to eat it, because they'll eat it every time if you do that almost. But casting out, mending,
working to dry fly leaders,
hopefully
takes a little bit more work from the guide, which I think is a big differentiator.
Oh yeah, and it's a lot of work.
We talked to Scott about this the other day, just in terms of what he expects of the guides that work for him and the experience to pass on to the customers, which is good. I mean, being in the fly shop, we don't hear a ton of negative things about any guides, really.
There's so many good guides on the green. I mean, it's unreal, and that's one that I've heard from all the old timers, that if you guide on the green for a year or two, you can guide any trout water.
Yeah.
Because it's technical and there's a lot to it.
Yeah.
It is technical.
It breeds some really good guides up there.
Yeah.
And every outfitter's got one or two world-class guides
Yeah.
to kind of teach everybody under them. I mean,
Yeah.
the amount of talent up there is unreal. And it's kind of mind-blowing to me the last year or two of kind of getting thrown in with the old-timers. It still seems like I'm a rookie.
Yeah.
Like
And you said it's your 10th year on the
It'll be my
river.
10th year, yeah. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah. Boy, we're almost running out of time. That's crazy. I told you it goes fast.
They go quick.
Nuts. Here's a question. Have you had any scary close calls?
Yeah, I've been close to sinking the boat a few times. I had this. She wasn't in my boat when it happened. It was on a group trip. A lady dislocated her hip
Ooh.
at lunch, and that was scary. And I didn't know how scary it was at the time, but
Yeah.
we built a stretcher out of oars and life jackets and got her in a boat. And where it happened was one of the few spots on the river where you can actually get cell phone service. So we were talking to emergency about, like, do you want to bring the chopper in? Am I rowing her out? Are you guys going to float down the search and rescue? And we ended up rowing her out, and the chopper was waiting for us at the ramp. And it was funny because
Wow.
she was hollering and in pain, and I've dislocated my shoulder a bunch, and like it hurts, but it's not like life-ending pain. And
Yeah.
she was
there.
She was in pain, and
Yikes.
as we were putting her on the chopper, I was talking to the nurse on the chopper, and she said that a dislocated hip is like one notch under childbirth on the pain scale. I was like, oh, all right, she was justified then. That one,
So that's a helicopter trip then.
yeah, because they don't want it to come back in and pinch a blood vessel.
Oh,
And
like
get your
the
femoral artery
arteries.
back into the
No bueno.
the joint.
Yeah, that's no bueno at all.
Yeah, and there's been pulled a few people out of the river
I
that
bet.
they were cold and getting in there a little too long, and
Because even during the summer, it's
the
mega
water is cold, and it's probably more dangerous in the summer when the air temperature is mid-90s and you hit 49-degree water.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
And you're not
crazy.
ready
Shock.
for it. You go into shock, and
Yeah.
you don't swim as far as you think you're going to.
No,
So-
but if you're a big fat guy, you float pretty well, right?
Hopefully. That is another one. Always on the green, if you ever come up on your own pontoon, kick boat, we require life jackets above Red Creek. So that's one that we see a lot, is people not having life jackets on. And
When we first got our drift boat, I don't know if you remember, but I messaged you. I said, "What's the life jacket to get that I'm going to be comfortable in and not want to take it off?" And
yeah, go try on life jackets when you
Yeah.
buy a drift boat. Like, get the life jacket you want.
So we got the NRS Ninjas, I
That's
believe,
the one I use.
and it is phenomenal. Like,
Yeah.
I can fish in that all day and not
Yeah.
feel like I'm restricted. And it's like, oh, we're on the B now underneath the
Yeah.
wherever the restriction
And you
is,
don't
and
know
I
you have it on.
yeah, you have it on still. It's like, okay. And even on the Provo, when we floated in our little floats, they have signs all over now that you should
supposed to
wear
wear
your
it.
PDF.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
PFD. PDF.
PDF.
Shh,
I'm blown
nerd.
away more people aren't hurt on the green. Like,
Yeah.
the amount of
Yeah.
goons that we see floating down that river in rafts.
Because it
in the
is
summer.
popular for the rubber raft.
Yeah, you can go up and
type
rent
stuff.
a raft for $60 and
Bounce off the rocks.
bounce
down.
off the rocks. And
Well, and
scream
that's
and
what
holler and
people
have
don't
water
realize
fights
is if you turn a raft and you take a bunch of water over
Yeah, they
the edge, it just bails out. You're good. And even if you flip it
a
over,
self-bailing raft.
yeah,
Well, those
but
rentals
not
don't.
the rentals. Yeah, that's still sketchy. So yeah, wear your life
Wear your
jacket.
PFD, yeah.
Yeah,
They're not that bad. It's a lot better than dying.
Yeah, true.
So
that's true.
All right. We have any other questions? Do we miss anything that we needed to cover? I don't remember anything else.
What's the big message you wanted to tell us, Colby?
be happy.
Be happy.
Love your neighbor, your fellow people.
Be nice.
Be a good person, yeah.
Yeah.
Try. Just try.
That's
That's all
a
I
good-
ask out of the world. Just try to be good.
Yeah,
You don't
see,
always have to be.
Be nice.
Yeah, be nice.
Yeah.
So as you can
Especially
see,
on the river, too.
it would be really hard to fish with this guy. He's just really,
So
he's really into himself. You know, this guy. No, that's good advice, Mr. Colby.
So if you do want to book a trip, we did have one question: where or how far out do you typically book?
I've got some dates booked for 2022.
Yeah.
So if you're wanting prime dates earlier than later,
Yeah.
for sure.
And the best way to book with you would be
Call Scott.
call Scott.
Yep. Or the website. The website's actually really good now.
Give him a plug, Mr. Colby.
Yeah, www.spinnerfall.com. He's
Yeah.
on Instagram, spinner_fall. Yeah, we're easy to find. He's got good Google Spinnerfall.
Yep.
So we're easy. But yeah,
Yes.
sooner the better. Like if you want summer,
Get it on.
yeah, right now. Yesterday.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and we will see you there.
good.
We are going to be out several times.
And you guys can leave your boat at my house too. You don't have to drag it up every time.
Yeah.
So
The only issue is if we want to go somewhere else, which would be
yeah, just
Question.
pick them
We
up.
do use it on some still waters for stealthy approach, but yeah. No, we are going to make a video. Our goal this year. Don't let us forget YouTubers. We're going to make a video with Colby this year.
Yeah.
Doing who knows what, maybe rowing, maybe cicadas.
Yeah, row lesson.
We'll
row
see.
lesson while cicadas.
Yeah, oh, even better.
Oh, that's a good one. On a great way to learn how to row. Go on a kind of a calmer day by yourself, one person in the boat, and cast, and then row your drift.
Wow, that
What?
sounds complex.
Like you will learn how to row that way. That's kind of one thing that Scott tells all of our rookie guides to take a couple days down on the low river where it's kind of slow. And just,
Okay, so you're casting anchored?
No, you're drifting.
You're drifting.
You're learning how to
cast
row a drift.
without anybody on the oars.
And it's amazing
Sit down
how
and
much
follow
you can
your
mend
cast.
and do everything from the boat.
Yeah.
that's crazy.
And
My
it's-
mind's blown.
It's crazy how little you have to do as an angler too. That's the other one of your guides.
Yeah,
just
if the
leave
guide
leave
should be
leave
able to kind of
Yeah, that's because I'm trying to.
That's the
do
thing.
half
People
the
don't
work.
realize how much focus and attention it takes as a rower to make sure you're following the drift, you're putting them in position, not hitting rocks, all that sort of thing.
How much? Yeah, I mean, not everybody does it, but like, I mean, I've got the coolest video game in the world. Like, I just tell
Yeah,
people
that's
what
true.
to do. It's like a 3D, like
Yeah.
in the world video game. Like, and
so
it's
awesome.
pretty
Except
fun.
for when you have that client that has the new rod X and they
Yeah.
false cast 40 times.
False castings for the movies.
It is. And that's why we make movies.
Yeah, get that bug on the water, man.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, Mr. Colby. So again, to wrap this up, we do have a fly shop. It is in Orem, Utah. Check it out. We
Point
just
you in the right direction if
Yeah.
you're going to go to the green.
Project Cicada Hopper. Or
Yeah.
cicadas,
Yeah.
Buy those because they're going to sell out by the time you want them.
yeah, exactly. We only buy them 4 to 6 dozen at a time.
Really?
Well, we order frequently.
That's
I
a
was
lot.
going to say I buy them
So
4 to 6 dozen at a time.
weekly. But anyway, also follow us on the social media. We have Instagram, we have Facebook, we have the Facebook group called Fly Tying with Uncle Cheech. And what's your Insta handle, Mr. Colby?
Colby D. Crossland.
Colby
or,
Delanore Crossland.
Or the Trout Smith. Those
The
both
Trout
pulled me
Smith.
up.
Okay. And that's him.
All right.
So
I think we're good. Appreciate your time.
Well, thank you for having me.
this podcast will self-destruct in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Bye.